narrative, isn't it? You're going to be our...
This is the Tech High School, the old Tech High School, which is now the Teacher Administrative Center. It started off as Commerce High School, and then it was then changed to a Technical High School. And at that time, in the 50s and 60s, it was a integrated school. As the 70s rolled around, it became more and more segregated, to the point where it was 90+% African American students in it. Yes. That's where the technical side came from. Right. Yeah. We take our PlayStation out. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And the song that I chose to sing is the African American National Anthem. Lift your voice and sing. So it was originally a poem written by James Weldon Johnson. And it was a poem to introduce Booker T. Washington and the birthday celebration for Abraham Lincoln. Now, later on, it was written to music and composed and arranged by his brother, John Rosamond Johnson. Lift Your Voice and Sing could be depicted as a story of a journey through God, sanctified by faith. They mention faith a lot in the song. And it could also be depicted as them being protected by God and prospered, because eventually there was an end to the segregation and the Jim Crow laws and discrimination. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea.
This job, I feel as if my God gave me a purpose, and that's to serve this community. I feel very blessed to have had an opportunity not only with the police department. I always volunteer. I always try to give something back because of the guys like Stan and Mike Elmer, that I learned from, and that shaped me. I wanted to make sure that I gave something back to that next generation. And so this job really has provided me with a platform and an opportunity to continue to serve this community. So what we do here at the League, it's a rich history. We're 85 plus years old, actually 1927 it was founded. But the work that we do here, Elmer mentioned, we're trying to improve social and economic conditions here in this community. And we know the data in terms of poverty. We try to address issues at the root cause: education, employment. We do a lot of work in violence prevention. We're an advocacy agency, so we get engaged in advocacy around child welfare reform, juvenile justice reform, education.
I wanted to just connect again our project to the experience that you're going to have today. First, something I hope you'll think about as you're traveling around on the north side today. It's a quote that a community member who's been a big part of our project shared with me, Mr. Rudy Smith. He said, "You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you have been." And I think for OPS to know the neighborhood that our students live in or our teachers teach in is empowering for teachers and students to instill pride in their students. And I think, again, the more a teacher can know about students that they're teaching, have pride in them and their neighborhood, I think this better and easier job they're going to have communicating with their students.
When I came up here,
for our organization, we've done things within some schools, but people are afraid of Malcolm. They're not sure which one we're going to bring. And so when we come to say we're going to present on Malcolm, we have a lot of people like, I don't know. Like, you mean the guy who hates white people? So if they don't understand his whole life, and then there's others who say, well, I understand Malcolm, but I'm not sure, you know, if we have someone come in, are they going to present the Malcolm that I know, which is the entire story, which is all the stages of his life and all the ugly and cute that goes along with that. And so we don't get yet as much buy-in from the school district in supporting what we're doing with the foundation as far as the youth are concerned. There's a big event that we have each year, and we had groups come out here, and there were some young people that are involved in different walks of life, and some gang members were here, but they were saying, you know what, this is Malcolm X's birth site. So if we're other places, I'd have problems with you that we'd have to rectify right here. But because Malcolm was born here, we can't disrespect him like that. And so they had a reverence for Malcolm that they didn't have for any other place, obviously, in the city. And so we have a way of being able to pull people in.
I thought the tracks were here.
No, you're pretty close, but there's nothing up here.
Not that building. We were up.
You have to go in. We think that we are part of the emphasis on Africana. We want to be part of the African Renaissance, the same one that Sheikh Diop talked about 50 years ago. So we have the materials that will assist in that direction, especially the educators may need to visit some areas that they haven't had the opportunity to do so. We do believe that one cannot teach what they don't know, nor can they lead where they don't go.
How did you get started with this? It's like you feel the history as you walk in and through here.
Actually, it was my wife. When I discovered who I really was, what I really am, I just started buying books. I couldn't get enough books. So when I got a little money, I would buy books. And if I had anything left over, I buy some food and clothes. So that didn't work well. Didn't work well. So she said, hey, you can start your bookstore. And so we really need to do things that our ancestors did. As a nation of people, we need to start reading those books that they were reading. And we have those books on the shelf. That is absolutely bedrock. Classical books, all the way from Drusilla Houston, the wonderful Ethiopians, just like taking a Polaroid picture. Still with that, she wrote it in 1926.
On the sheet that was given to you, there's an image of Mr. Brown's body that is burned. That is the definitive picture of a lynching in America. And it happened right here in Omaha, Nebraska. It was in, in 1919. The summer of 1919 was called the Red Summer, because it was called red because the blood of blacks flowed to the ground across this country. On September 25th, a 19-year-old Caucasian lady by the name of Agnes Lobeck alleged that she was sexually assaulted by Mr. Will Brown. Mr. Brown, who was identified by them as a person who did the act, was a 41-year-old packing house worker that had rheumatoid arthritis. Will Brown was then a noose put around his neck. He was hung. Once his body was dead, they tied the rope with his neck still in the noose to the back of the automobile, and they drug him around the downtown Omaha area. You remember, there was back in the days before the flashing lights you see for construction areas and what have you, they used to put smudge pots of or lanterns up that had oil in them, and they had open flame. That's what you saw. So what they did was they poured the oil onto Mr. Brown's body, and then they lit the body, and that's what you see, that picture of the men of Omaha and even a young child smiling when the picture was taken. If you ever want to look, there's the flagpole that is on the east side. If you walk 15 yards or 15 steps heading, it will be south. You will walk right into his gravesite.
OIC building.
768, Dr. Morrison says I refer to her.
Look at this. Look at you. Wow.
As you live your life, remember, youth are following you. May your footsteps lead to the path for them that's true. We're absolutely jazzed. And we don't, in terms of we like to show the jazz hand. So I know you're eating, but so lift up one hand, let me see a jazz hand. That's how we do our little jazz. Our mission is to preserve, promote, and present African American art and jazz. I don't know, just by show of hand, how many, back in the day they used to call 24th and Lake Street what? The Deuce, okay. But
Omaha, Nebraska is the home of jazz. Some of you think it's Kansas City. Some of you think it's New Orleans. This was the home of jazz. Because all of the major stars, well, turned out to be stars, came to Omaha first. This is where it all began. We don't have that history. We lost the fight. We didn't fight the battle to make Omaha the home, because the reason why Kansas City had it, they pushed it and made it so, and then New Orleans, they have just used it as part of their whole, what they are. But this is the home of jazz.
See that building there on the right? You see the greenhouse, but that next corner, that's a very, very significant building. But what that used to be is the Carnation Ballroom. And the Carnation Ballroom was part of the history that I mentioned of jazz. That's where, along with the other side of this, I'll show you, is where all the biggies, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, all the stars of the time, either played here once and played there twice, all that.
Another thing about the building you this part, the stairway there is coming upstairs. Upstairs here, do you ever hear Miss Pinkston? It's a lady named Flora Pinkston. She was a music teacher. She had her music studio up here back in the day. A lot of kids in the neighborhood about how to play the piano. And if they don't know, these people don't know that the music has been a part of the history of this building since before they got here. Has anybody seen the video about 24th Street? There's a video.
No, but we need to know.
Playing while people were eating, and then
We need to know about that so that can be added into our resource collection.
Yeah.
Is that the Street of Dreams video?
Yeah, Street of Dreams.
I tried to Google that and it wouldn't come up for me.
I've got it.
The hardest part of my experience today was realizing how far the Native American community has to come to reach this level of unity and community support, because today I sat back and I found that coming straight from the reservation into a Native program, I've been so consumed with the Native American community and trying to tackle all of the problems and the politics surrounding why we can't be a unified group. And then I sat back today and got to witness a community who is very united, has a lot of support, both professionally and community.
I just appreciate hearing everybody's personal stories here. Not being from Omaha, you don't need them. I can feel your pride and the honor that you have in just sharing this afternoon with you. So it's made an impact on me.
I was really troubled going into the Malcolm X today. It's the second time I've been there. Because the only thing that we know about Malcolm X is him being radical and not being a law-abiding citizen. That's all that we know. All of the stuff we were told today, we don't know that. And what our students need to know is that they have a very rich history and a very rich legacy. That was what happened here today.
Having an open discussion, because we touched on some very sensitive issues today that may not look flattering to the city of Omaha, but it is what it is. And we're able to do it without poking fingers as who's right and who's wrong.